Welcome to Torment, Tides of Numenera. If I'm looking a little sweaty, excuse me, I apologize, but it's hot. It's getting hot in here, and I can't take off my clothes because I don't think Twitch would like that, and I don't think you would like that either. So, we are here, still on the 9th world, but we are not in the Valley of Dead Heroes anymore, but we are in Miel Avest, this place. It's supposed to be a sanctuary from the sorrow, where we can be safe and secure, and where this crazy monster that's following us cannot find us, and any other cast-offs. So this is where we are, and let me just read out, because it's been a while since we've played Torment the last time, I think. Now weekly, and not bi-weekly? No, that's every 14 days, right? Not twice a week anymore, but once a week, always on Tuesdays. So, just to get in, to understand where we are, let me read out what Miel Avest actually is. Miel Avest is a refuge from the sorrow, a hidden sanctuary for cast-offs alone, created by the Changing Guard and the first cast-off. Shields cast by generators from a long-dead world hide it from prying eyes. The only law in Miel Avest is peace, and in its verdant air, cast-offs can focus on ways to stop the sorrow forever. Let me just... my little... to make my voice a little warmer. To warm up my voice, that's how you could say it. So this is Miel Avest. We are here. What's our quest? We are searching for Melmoth, but he's not here. Damn! But maybe somebody knows where he is, because Melmoth is supposed to be able to repair the resonance chamber that we broke right at the start of the game. And Aadiriis is the here. The cast-offs of Miel Avest are led by a woman named Aadiriis, a visionary who keeps the peace, forcing the cast-offs to focus on finding ways to fight the sorrow. Aadiriis possesses an uncanny beauty. She is a mother and guide to the cast-offs with a kind and caring demeanor, but a mortal threat to anyone who threatens the cast-off sanctuary. And everything's good. And in the sanctuary, even though the cast-offs are divided into two factions, one led by Paj Reckon, who's the commander of the First's militia, and she's devoted to the struggle against the Changing Guard. She now carries the First's mantle and has devoted centuries of her life to overthrowing your sire, the Changing Guard. Paj is utterly committed to the survival of the cast-offs, and she has little patience for those who support the Changing Guard, who she says seeks to kill all of your kind. And on the other side is the Chalcedon. He's the commander of the Changing Guard's forces in the Endless Battle, and the Endless Battle is where these two factions of the cast-offs fight each other. He is devoted to our creator, believing that the Changing Guard has a plan that will stop the sorrow for good. He is a dangerous foe and a brilliant tactician. So this is where we are. Monitor, everything nice and dandy. Set up. Yep. We started here, got out of there. This is the portal from the necropolis into this place, Miel Avest. And we cannot go through these portals. And these are the generators that shield us from the sorrow and maybe other enemies, I don't know. We've talked to her. We know that this is supposed to be the last resort when the sorrow does manage to infiltrate Miel Avest. But apart from that, we have only talked to...
You aren't doing anything, right?
To these no names that are just called cast-offs. And to the Chalcedon, but he wasn't really that interesting. And now here with Aadiriis, who also said something to... No, who might be able to help us with Aadiriis. Because when we have been in the Valley of Dead Heroes, we found out that Aadiriis is cursed by nano-robots, you could say, I think. And these are the ones that make this golden glow and then make him such a naive fighter that just goes into battle like Don Quixote. And we've upgraded the armor of our companions. That's Lady Anch's work. So what else can Aadiriis tell us? We have talked to her already, but not about everything. Well, my friend, you return. What do you need? And, right, she wants to probe our mind in order to see... Yes. She heard of our ability that we can change the past when we are in these Merecasters, places or things where other casters put their thoughts and memories into, their past, and when we change something in this past, we change the future also. That's not how this is supposed to work, but that's what we can do. We are some kind of anomaly here, even between all these other cast-offs. Lost Shepherd, yes, that's Altus's quest. Okay, before we let her probe our mind, let's talk to her about other stuff. Maybe about this pyramidal structure. She gazes in the direction you're pointing. Ah, she says finally, the feretory. It's unclear whether she is saying the name with reverence or disgust. That has been here for as long as anyone can remember, though not perhaps when Miel Avest was originally founded. What is known is that the first placed it there. What is not known is why. Rumors abound, of course, but as no one knows how to activate or open it, none can be proven. Tell me about yourself. I keep the peace here in Miel Avest. Our sire brought the jagged dream to Sargos Cliffs and my body. Did you know that? She shakes her head. The conflict they seek to start, the wars. I swore that I would make no deaths in my lifetime, bring no pain. I came here in the wake of the first's death, and her loyalists were at the throats of our sires. I brought peace to them. They agreed we would make Miel Avest a sanctuary again. That is my achievement, my legacy. The Jagged Dream is a faction that seeks to create chaos and wars between, well, nations, if they can, because they think this is the only way that that leads to progress and that we can develop ourselves and make ourselves better, improve ourselves. Why would you feel guilty? True, and yet the Jagged Dream knew me under a name and a history that wasn't my own. The killers, the haters, the ones who wanted to see blood and death, they would tell me of their schemes. They wanted my approval. And any action on my part they took as such. I've never taken a life, but blood stains me. I can't feel that again. Ever. Who put you in charge? Why, no one did. I saw the need and forged the peace myself. I saw a path to avoid the bloodshed, and I set my feet upon it. With my end goal in mind, those who would oppose me saw that I had set my ideals and would not deviate from them. And since my plan did not involve exalting myself over them, and did not put them at a disadvantage, who could say no? Indeed, I am in charge only in so far as they allow it. They are the ones who have enforced the peace. I just speak of it. I don't run it. I administer, I request, I guide, but I do not take charge. Other questions? What do people think the feretory is? Oh, the predictable legends. An escape pod of some kind, a final defense against the sorrows should it break through. A repository of the First's treasures. I heard one person suggest the First herself was still alive, preserved inside, and that she would return when we needed her most. She doesn't think that this is true. It's clear that it's a protection of some kind, but whether it's to protect us or what's inside, what's inside it remains to be seen. Anything else? Let's talk about you. Other questions? Questions about other cast-offs. Whoa, okay. Tell me about the cast-offs here. Ordinarily, we see more activity here, and we would perhaps have prepared a homecoming for you. But rumor has convinced many that the Cyro has been more active of late. To ease their minds, I offered a vote to close the portals into the sanctuary. But I digress. The current guests include the Chalcedon, Lady Ange, Elkeshai, Andronus, Raima, Melmoth. I suppose you've just missed my friend Page. The Chalcedon commands our Creator's forces in the endless battle. He is a true believer, a tightly wounded man, but brilliant. Lady Angie brings her trinkets from all over her mercantile empire. Poor Elkeshai has been badly treated by the world. Perhaps you could have a word or two with him. Andronus is, well, his best quality is that he is loyal to Page. Perhaps I should say to the memory of the first. But he's also volatile and argumentative, and he's devoted his centuries to fighting. You'll likely find him sparring verbally with Raima, whose devotion to the ideals of our sire is the equal of his. And then, my friend Melmoth, the leader of the Dendra Hur. He's quite a charmer. Speak to him, you'll see. Anything else? They may snap and growl, but no harm. Cast-offs who aren't here. Our Creator chose to live a bountiful life, and he has brought hundreds into the world. He has explored many forms, shapes, and sizes, and he has led some of our kin through time-twisting loops. I do not know all their names, but I hope that I might one day befriend them. Even those who have been twisted into savagery. Even if I knew them all, I would not divulge their secrets, just as I would not divulge yours. What can you tell me about the Cyro? I know little. Nothing about where it came from, nor its purpose, nor its true desires, apart from seeing us all dead. None of us do, though some of us have devoted centuries to trying to understand it. Indeed, the creation of Miel Avest was intended for that purpose. But the First and the Changing Guard grew complacent, and then they grew possessive, and then the endless battle. Sometimes I feel that the Cyro must hunt us because so many of us are so very disagreeable. But in truth, I believe the Cyro hunts us because of something to do with the tides. Our unique powers tied to the tides must summon it. I have not seen the Cyro track other living beings, nor heard of it in any context but the cast-off situation. It must be the tides. It must. Something about Miel Avest. The name comes from a language predating our Creator. It means Stone of Wonders. He and the First created our sanctuary jointly, siting it on this plateau because the devices they found here proved uniquely suited to creating a sanctuary and to power the shields that protect us. They brought more of us here. Our elders hid from the Cyro or retreated here from the cares of the world. They built homes, laboratories, and more. The shields protected them from the Cyro's gaze. But when the First and the Changing Guard struggled, all that fell apart. The peace of Miel Avest was shattered, and those who remained chose sides. Blood spilled on the Great Disk. Factions fought for control of the wisdom gained here. Such a waste. It was not until after the First's death and my arrival that we were able to resecure peace. And so, we once again have a sanctuary for any cast-off. And their occasional guests. Would that we had not closed the doorways, though. Whether the Cyro is truly more active or not, there are undoubtedly others who would wish to find safety here. I accept the responsibility for the closure. Those who chose to leave have left, and I wish the rest safety. more about Miel Avest? No. If you hear cars driving by, I'm sorry for that, but I had to open the window, otherwise I would melt in this place. What can you tell me about the first cast-off? She died a few years after I was born. A pity. I wish I could have spoken with her to understand her drive and passion. She honestly thought she would serve us all, and sometimes I ask myself what she might do in a situation when two of our brothers are fighting. And then I remember that so many of them have died fighting in her war, and my respect vanishes. I would have loved to speak with her, help her find another way. Alas. Anything more? She was driven, ambitious, and strong, and she cared deeply for all of us, but her hatred obscured the bounds between us, and she drove us into war. What about the changing guard? That's quite a list. Which would you prefer to address first? Have you seen him recently? Never, to my knowledge. Perhaps I have, and he never revealed himself. It would be very like him to gather his intelligence and then be away. We regard every new caster with the suspicion that he or she might truly be our creator, and frequently a new caster will pretend to be. But we find the truth, one way or another, and our sire continues to live in a way that we do not fully understand. You really haven't seen it? I do not believe so, no. What do you think of him? A brilliant man. Thoughtful, charismatic, a mind greater than any the Ninth World has seen. Where the Iron Priests of today cobble together bits and pieces of Numenera, our creator was a visionary. Were it not for the sorrow, I honestly believe that he would lift us into a new age of human achievement. He has also systematically destroyed every relationship he ever built. He does not seem to understand human frailty or emotion. No, let me rephrase that. He understands those things well enough to exploit them in others, but does not accept their reality, if you understand what I mean. More plainly, he is a selfish man who grows ever more disconnected with his inferiors every year. His life is a tragedy, it truly is. Anything else? A visionary, a genius, a man whose skills remain unsurpassed. Also a deeply flawed man whose personal foibles have made him unable to connect to others. A tragic figure, truly. What about his history? Much of it he has deliberately obscured, and much he has rewritten, either to make himself seem a better man, or to keep his enemies from finding him. But I can provide you with the broad strokes if you wish. Well, first of all, let me take a sip. He saved the city of Sargus Cliffs from the Tabard, and it was after their siege that he focused so heavily on mental transference techniques, though we do not know why. He was successful in his attempts, obviously, and this is the first record we have of the sorrow in modern times. He traveled to another world or dimension, and I have heard that this is where the first was born. His studies in the tides ran deep. He claimed to have spent lifetimes exploring them, and when he had mastered them, he destroyed the Tabard utterly. He brought the Order of Truth to Sargus Cliffs and sought to keep knowledge alive by creating the Dendra Ahur. His life has been about the creation or preservation of wisdom. Ah, so there's a system in all of this. But to what end? There seems to be no pattern or goal. He does not seem to build for humanity, but for his own legacy. Should we emulate this? I cannot answer that. More about his history? Okay, so it's nothing new but the same. Other cast-offs. What do you know about the tides? I have studied them. What else can I do when I'm not trying to keep the peace here? The first and our sire used Miel Avest as their sanctuary after all, though their remaining notes are cryptic or piecemeal. I have learned enough to believe that it is our use of the tides that draws the sorrow to us. Each of us has access to a broader tidal power, the tidal surges, as you have no doubt discovered, but I choose not to use mine, and I have not seen no sign of the sorrow. I recognize that this is not a logical conclusion. The sorrow might yet hunt me for reasons unknown, but I am content in knowing that at least I harm no others with my body. Melmoth knows more, as he is eager to tell us at every opportunity. He has made certain to use every tool at his disposal in an effort to preserve and understand our lives, but I do not believe that he has made an extensive study of the sorrow's motivations. More about the tides? I urge you to restrain your use. Okay, I don't know if I can. Where is Mazov? You mean physically? That I do not know. He was captured by the Gibra of Marajolio several years ago, a prisoner for their menagerie, but no one knows what became of him afterward. The Merecaster is your best hope of finding him, but I cannot let you access it until I know the true extent of your abilities. Do you know of healers who can help Aadiriis? Oddly, Aadiriis is silent. Silent, sober, and looking at us. Aadiriis turns back to you. No. The only cast of healers I know are elsewhere, tending to those who can actually be injured. My apologies. Before you probe my mind, let's speak to the other peoples. And save. Also, maybe Elegant might want to talk to...
You've given me a lot to think about. She's the first of your kind who doesn't make me fear for my life. The first who makes me want to be better. And I'm going to try. Doesn't mean I don't want answers, mind you. But I'm going to work with you.
What do you think about Miel Avest? He looks around and his mouth is tight. Every one of these people has been touched by the changing god. Every one. And look at them. They all seem scarred and fragile. Something that's almost pity touches his face. All of you are suffering. But it doesn't compare to the suffering you all have brought to the world. Anything other besides that? Talk about you. Again. Other questions? How you holding up? I'm fine, okay. Tybia?
Heard rumors about this place, bits and pieces here and there. Never thought I'd set boot in it, especially since I'm not...
A cast-off? He traces a rough outline of a cast-off's tattoo over his unadorned skin. Doesn't look like you're worried. Well, no. He claps us on the shoulder. I have an escort, and I'm officially a friend of the family. Your opinion? Cold, isn't it? Temperature and the reception. You'd think people in a place this hard to reach would be friendlier. Let's move on. What do you think, Aadiriis?
What a wonderful place. I'm almost glad they're not fighting their endless battle here. Everything would get all, bloody and burnt.
I'm glad you're here with me. He blushes. That's true. Kind of you. Oh. Let's go exploring. Let's talk another time. Good idea.
I know. Something to do.
Elkeshai. Aadiriis thought you might be interesting. This slim cast-off looks to be in his late teens. He carries an odd-looking device that resembles a scorched circle and it's not hard to draw the connection between it and the red mark of a recent injury that travels along his forehead and under his hair. The man seems confused, hesitant, as if he has so many questions that he isn't sure which to ask first. I want to ask. I'm not sure. I want to ask you a lot. We all do. We? He blinks hard at your question, twisting the blackened circlet through his hands. I once fought in the endless battle, found this in a giant clay hand, trapped in a half-shattered block of stone. I took it. He shakes his head as if denying the memory itself. Put it on. The circlet spins through his hands faster and faster. I saw darkness. Knew I was inside the owner of that hand, a clay automaton imprisoned. Knew I couldn't control it. I did. Broke it free from the stone, used it in service of our sire for many years. Thought of it as my armor. He blinks hard again, like a man trying to dislodge a thought with his eyelids alone. Then a war construct collapsed on the automaton, crushed it, and the crown burned. I remember screaming, then 100 voices in my head, arguing with each other, shouting, fighting. The automaton wasn't armor, it was a container. A container for gods. For gods. My armor wasn't a tool. It was a locked chest with a hole inside. A deep hole full of terrible gods. I wish I could help. What do you think it is in your head again? Gods, many. Arguing. Rin might be able to help, but she's not here with us. What was the endless battle like? Oh, we were killed. The dead crept into my mind. They told me to kill more, and I did because that's what we do. It's in our nature, you know. We're worse than animals, casters, humans. Whether created or evolved, we are all inclined to conflict. Tell me again. I do not think about it. I don't want to remember. What questions did you have for me? You forced your way through our portal. It keeps us safe from the sorrow. Now it's open. He swallows, eyeing us reproachfully, carefully. We feel a string of forces around us. The portal was closed for a reason. You had to know that. Why weren't you more careful? You need to tell me how bad it is, and I need the truth. Have you seen it? Have you seen the sorrow? Her sorrow? Yes. I knew it. We're running out of time. Now listen. This is even more important. Have you abused the tides to change things, to influence people? Very little? Well, you didn't use them much. By the way, this is one such option where I would let you decide if you were here to decide, but maybe someone is here and might want to decide, so you can choose the choices. Because this is again, I don't know what I would want to tell him. Very little. I don't regret it. I don't know. Very little? Yeah? It doesn't matter. He'll find you. Every use of our power draws it like a fire in the sky. We should leave. Maybe it'll follow you and leave us alone. His trembling hand seeks the red wound at his hairline. More questions? No. No, I don't. You should go. go before it comes for all of us. Farewell.
You've got it.
If you want blood, you've got it. Well, Raima, Cyro. Hello there. This woman bears a toothy smile, enjoying the anger on the man she's speaking with. You probably think if you won, then the endless battle would actually end. This man's face is flushed and angry, veins throb on his forehead, and his eyes are focused on his companion. Stop talking, Raima. He spits each word, gripping his weapon belt with bloodless fingers. Stop talking, or I'll prove you wrong right now. But it wouldn't do anything of the sort, Raima replies, grinning as though she intends to eat the man whole and screaming. Even this argument is part of his plan. Do what you have to do, Andronus. If not for the law, you'd already be dead, he says and spits at her feet. Pfft! Traitor! Fool! You child! You ingrate! Family? Fuck this. Pardon me. Enough! They freeze mid-shout, breathless and silent, and turn towards you. They blink in unison. What are you arguing about? That's him, right? Best stay out of it, Andronus says, slashing the air between him and Raima with his hand. Even a second of her boot-licking nonsense is a waste of your time. Hide from the truth all you want. You know I'm right. You know it. What are you arguing about now? Of course I didn't. Andronus never lets me get a word in edgewise. Why should I? All of your words are his, and I've had enough of him for a lifetime. Tell me. Grinding his teeth together, Andronus merely shakes his head. She chuckles under her breath and runs an easy hand over her scalp. Tell me. They won't. How long have you known each other anyway? Too long. Agreed. Okay, if we talk to him maybe? Does that change anything? Okay, farewell.
On my way.
Guys, I think I've talked to them before. They just say blah 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 blah. Yes.
I am the very soul of action.
The enormous tower jutting out of the ground looks like a weapon or an antenna of some kind. It makes a soft hissing noise and smells faintly of yeast. I'm reading so quickly because it might be gone any moment, this description. One would have a fantastic view of the plateau from the building on this verdant crag. This all feels extremely familiar. Oh! This is where when we had memories about this, where we stood here. I see.
I'm going.
This building contains living quarters, presumably for cast-offs who make a semi-permanent home here. Semi. The doors to the structure are locked at the moment.
Yes.
I should know. No, I shouldn't. Do you have any memories of the changing guard's time in your body? I have forgotten mine. Okay.
Done.
What's this spire? This monument tapers to a narrow point. From a distance, the obelisk appears several meters tall. But when you stand at the foot of it, some kind of optical illusion makes it look as though the obelisk keeps going, rising, narrower and narrower into the wide sky. Touch it! The moment your fingertip grazes the dagger-like stone, your mind is seized by cold fingers and hurled high into the air. Shreds of cloud whip past. Stars streak by you and are lost in the void. Ahead, a light blooms, threaded with silvery ribbons of time. You plunge into the light, and a vision of the future unfurls. You see yourself asleep, bundled in blankets, snoring loud enough to tear holes in the sky. Also, you're drooling. The prophetic light fades, leaving you standing before the obelisk once more. You study the monument, frowning, though the vision felt true, and hardly seemed to have been worth all that effort. Perhaps touching it again will yield different results. Once more, your mind plunges into the open sky, through the grasping void beyond and into the waiting light that holds visions of the future. You return to the vision of you sleeping, snoring like a Calerail. Your vision clears, leaving you before the obelisk again. That vision was just as apparently useless as the last. But perhaps this monument has more to show you. You see yourself staring mournfully at a half-eaten bowl of stew. It certainly looks good, but judging by your future self's expression, it was an utter disappointment. And we sneezed in this one thing. The obelisk trembles beneath your hand as though something has stirred or awoken within. Then your mind lances into the sky toward that prophetic star. You return to the vision of you watching the horizon and sneezing. You see yourself standing before a ghostly woman. She looks at you, her eyes cold and hard. Stop him. He's had more lives than anyone can count. You recognize the woman. She's the same ghost you met in the Fifth Eye and in the labyrinth after that. But you don't know who she's talking about. Hands close over your mind and hurl it back to Miel Avest, back to the obelisk. You stagger away from the monument, clutching your head. It seems the obelisk does show meaningful visions after all. You see a billowing pillar of burning, oily smoke in a ravaged throne room. You, your companions, and a handful of unfamiliar cast-offs lie motionless around it. Not all of the bodies are whole. Then, the pillar, the sorrow, turns, unfurling long claws, reaching for you. Wait. Oh, and another one. Above the roar of hungry flame, you hear someone gasping raggedly for breath. You open your eyes on a vision of burning devastation. The sorrow towers above it, studying the woman impaled upon its claws with clinical interest. I can tell you, by the way, that these visions that seem to be a little bit more meaningful, they do actually happen. They will happen in this game. I think I can piece together everyone to where it belongs. Okay, one. You see yourself standing before a huge organic mass. Tubes and arteries pulse in the murky light, and thick tendrils extend from the mass to enfold your body. Weird alien whispers chitter and hiss in your mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Counting up to 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I don't think there's anything more to it. Thanks, you Spire Fang.
Let's go.
Okie dokie. Yeah, we know about that. territory. I think we have talked to everyone so far. But Melmoth Leviarm, the founder of the Dendra Ahur. Just a hard save. Just, why not? Melmoth. I like his name. It sounds silly. Melmoth. Your eyes are drawn to the tattered leather ropes and the profusion of tubes that wire this man. He is lighter skinned, with piercing eyes and a hideous pitted scar on his face. He could be handsome, but centuries of neglect have ravaged his looks. He looks you over and rasps. So, you're the new cast of, eh? Come to ask me about my Dendra Ahur? Or do you have some other trick you need to show off? He waves his hand irritably. Never mind, never mind. You have questions for Melmoth? What? Tell me about yourself. His lopsided smile seems like more of a grimace. I'm Melmoth Leviarm. I'm the creator of the Dendra Ahur, the greatest, or at least most innovative, of the brotherhoods that seeks to pass along knowledge from one generation to the next. He has an accent now, by the way. So many people back away from me because of the way I look or the way I speak. But let me tell you that in this body I have lived countless lives, seen endless worlds, experienced memories that beggar description. I contain worlds and they judge me by my appearance. Sometimes I wonder who I'm saving this knowledge for. What can you tell me about the Dendra Ahur? They call us the Eaters of the Dead. We take the knowledge from their fading flesh. Every life flickers and dies, and when knowledge disappears, the world grows darker. The rain of death washes away experience. I want to preserve. Each of the Dendra is a library of experience. A farewell grin flickers on his mouth and vanishes. Every life that vanishes is a loss. Every person leaving has a story. The secret keys of history hide there. I want truth. I want exposure. I want knowledge to live. Anything more? Death is a waste of history. We eat the dead that we might remember the lessons of time. Anything more? No. What can you tell me about the other cast-offs? They're idiots and fools. They think their shields can protect them from the sorrow forever. I came here to retrieve some research, and every time I think of how much knowledge is in their minds and their bodies, and I wish they would just die already so I could gain access to their wasted experiences. On the other hand, they are the closest I have to peers. Gods, what does that say about me? Let's not, they bore me. I'm looking for Mazov. Him, that useless tinkerer. Why? Melmoth is a creepy dude. But he seems, for some reason, he seems trustworthy to me. Because he is what he is, isn't he? And he knows so much because he's eaten so many people and so many memories that and the world still is okay. So I don't think. Let's tell him the truth, shall we? He steeples his fingers, lost in contemplation. A resonance chamber. I remember the term. Something about the building of it. Crystal. The particulars escape me, but Mazov would be the one to fix it. Too bad he's not here. Try asking Aadiriis. With all your acquired knowledge, you must have a unique outlook on the endless battle.
Remember that.
A waste of life and a criminal waste of knowledge. The weapons being discharged are lost to us forever. Each life gone is an experience that will disappear into the mists of eternity, snuffed away, forgotten, never to be seen again. Our sire sought to cheat death to stop that kind of waste. It is beyond my reasoning why he'd allowed the endless battle to continue. Thank you. Don't eat anything I wouldn't eat. I daren't dream of it. I think let's one last stop at Lady Anxious. You know, her. Any other upgrades? No, something else. Your Numenera. Anything I want to sell? Burning mouse. It looks cute. We have a cute burning mouse. Vareth and Aerith. Can I do something with them now? But I should not use too many title searches, they tell me. I don't think brute force would work. But what happens if we do that? I don't want to break them. But maybe it'll work. Well, if anyone can do it, it's Aadiriis. Boom! Success! Ever so slowly, you force the ring fragments together, pushing your way through the massive force repelling them. The closer you bring Aerith and Vareth together, the more they seem to resist. Beads of sweat form on your forehead, and your muscles scream in agony. But then, finally, the moment you force the rings to touch, the repelling force completely dissipates, and the two fragments eagerly latch onto each other. The complete shadow ring lies in the palm of your hand, simmering with barely restrained power. What can it do? Nice! You found Aerith and Vareth, the two halves of the shadow ring, and with great effort reformed the object that had been shattered by your sire. The resulting artifact looks like a plain dark grey metal ring. When worn, it redirects powerful forces into any target struck. Pocket the ring. So, who wants that? 4 resistance. Tybia might use that. +2 relativistic damage. How much damage? 4 energy for physical. 4 energy. 7 and already 2 relativistic. Maybe Elegant. I mean, he is standing far away, so he wouldn't need more resistance. What does it do, by the way? Oh, but these esoteries and ciphers, they could aim at him still because they have a farther reach. Okay. Who doesn't have an ornament? Sucker punch? I like a sucker punch. Movement speed. More evasion roll on attacks. Flex skill.
Here. Now.
Need me?
What do you need?
Does he need his flex skill? Elegant? Nah. He's skilled already, and he's skilled enough. And sometimes you forget the flex skill, or it's not working anymore. +1 in intimidation. Yeah. So I think. Let's Give this to Elegant. And this to Aadiriis, who's got more resistance then. And does even more damage. And then, why should he? Oh, it's not easy, it's not easy. Let's put them all together. So that we can see who should get which one, which ornament. He gets to keep his flex skill because if I take it from him, it will be gone. Okay, so we have Elegant has his flex skill. And until when it's gone, I think I will remove that. So we're talking about Aadiriis, Tibia, and our last caster, 3-7. Hey. Okay. This is just a waste. Energized. Now we can sell these conduit rings to Lady Anche. Yep. We don't need those. Bye-bye. So, let's see what else we can do. 4 resistance. And more damage. Who has the least resistance? Tibia. Tibia doesn't have much resistance. So, let's give him the Shadow Ring. Ah, that's not Tibia. So. Then who's the slowest and has the least evasion? 35, 25. So, Elegant. And Elegant also has an inability in running. So of course he gets this thing, Beats of Time Never Ending. Yep. That's this, and he will get that when we don't need the flex skill anymore. And these are the last two. When hit with a melee attack, deals damage and confers bleeding. Sucker Punch. Both are nice, but no must-haves. And we sometimes might use a... We also have an inability in running. And he's a very quick runner, so let's give him the Sucker Punch. He can run to people and attack them, and yeah, we might get attacked because people run towards us. And bam. And also we are the main character, so I think they might be more inclined to attack us instead of our companions. Can we do anything with these? Ooh. Shit. I thought we have already used this one. Red. It's the color of the sky as the sun sets behind the stacked hovels. It's the color of the dust that coats the massive obelisk rising beyond the hovels, holding back the endless waters of the oasis. It's the color of her skin. The woman's name is Sukya. Susya? Sukya. Her skin turns red when she's afraid, a mutation. Red is the color of her blood running from the gash in her forehead. Red is your rage as you look at the two men who tower over her, laughing raucously, taking turns to vent their spite. You can smell it, the blood and their loathing. It stings worse than Sukya's fear. Please, Sukya begs you, please stop them, help me! What's going on here? Human rights, Mutie, one of them jeers. There ain't enough war to go around, but this troll's poor thinks she deserves more than the rest of us. Sukya starts to protest that it wasn't her, but the human kicks her in the face. You all do it! Yeah, you all do it, he spits in her face. Don't think we ain't seen every one of you taking more than your daily cup. That should be enough for any filthy mutant, but no, now you've got the Burgrave thinking about changing the damn laws. He kicks her again to make his point. The other one steps forward and looks down at you, blocking the sun. I bet you deserve as much as a human too, don't ya? I think you're better than the rest of us. Think you're better. Oh, so we are a mutant as well. Racism. And it's hard to talk to those people. On the other hand, when mutants seem to be slaves here and we rally them up, I don't know what their future holds. Let's try to talk to them. The humans laugh at your pathetic attempt. They turn on you, overwhelming you from both sides. You can't protect every place at once. They pound your face, your stomach, your kidneys. You taste blood and smell your own fear. They knock you down, and all you see is the red sky behind their sneering faces. They stop at last. One of them spits on your face. Damn mutants! You don't belong here. We'll be back later with the others. Then we'll teach you a real lesson. They strut back down the road into town. After they leave, a Chayarchan runs forward to tend Sukya's wounds. A small boy covered in blood blisters comes out from his hiding place to watch. An enormous mutant with an elongated neck towers over both of them. That's him. That's the boy. That's us, I think. Oh, and this is the Chayarchan. And that's Sukya? I think so. A woman with blue skin runs out from her house. Ash! She shouts at the boy. You get home this instant! The boy tears himself away from Sukya and the Chayarchan. Suddenly, he stops and looks up to you. They said they were coming back. What are we gonna do? His mother, Lali, puts a hand on the boy's shoulder and also looks to you. What are we going to do? You feel the heat of several dozen eyes asking the same thing, looking to you for guidance. Now I remember this mare, and I know what I did then and what happened. It wasn't nice. How's Sukya? She looks up. Her skin is multi-hued now and reeks of overcooked vegetables. Pain. Thanks for your help, she manages. She looks pretty bad. Apparently the thugs had been working on her long before you drew their attention. You know what I miss? She's obviously half-dazed as she speaks. Your music. You used to write the most moving songs. I miss your songs. What do you think, mother and boy? We should fight! The boy Ash grins with sharp yellow teeth. There are lots of us. We can take them. Hush, child. His mother taps him lightly on the back of his head. A blood blister pops, covering her hand with a sticky, smelly goo. Damn. Anyway, don't listen to him. We're not fighters, you know that. The woman Lali looks over to where the Chayurchin is ministering to Sukia. You shouldn't ask me what I think. I think we should just keep our heads down. But that won't stop this, will it? I wonder if anything can. Chayurchin, what do you think? All three of Misha's hands are busy, fussing over Sukia with several different pastes, injectors, and spray canisters. Can't take much more of this, she mutters. I mean, all of us. Seems like someone comes in here causing trouble every week now. As if life in the Morphling grotto weren't hard enough. She slams 3 ciphers down at once and glowers at you. What we should do is talk to the Burgrave. He might actually be able to do something. She returns to Sukia with a groan. Not that he would. Not that any of us could even get to him without trouble. But it might be the only chance we have. Large Mutant, what do you think? Yes, what do you think? This mutant stands 2 meters tall without his long neck. His hands look strong enough to rip bricks in half. It's a wonder he didn't do anything to help Sukia when he clearly could have. His voice, when it comes, is strange and sonorous, emerging from the multiple holes pierced through his neck. There will be not feast until blood has come to rain, he says. And you realize he's talking about himself, not that he makes any sense. He looks directly at you. Zell desires blood to rain. Let's get help from the Burgrave. I think peace in this instant can only come when we get help from the oppressors. You follow the path the thugs took to leave the grotto. It leads you away from the towering obelisk down a winding road shadowed by tall sandstone buildings on either side. The closer you get to the main town, the more humans there are. Every one of them stares at you. Some turn away quickly, feigning nonchalance. Others curl their lips in disgust. A few tell you to go back where you came from. The waste, preferably. One warns you you'll die out here, but the way he says it seems like he hopes that he's the one who kills you. In the town square you are shoved and jostled on all sides. What a few kind faces there are steer clear of you entirely. Finally, you reach the Burgrave's tower. The tower marks the center of the town square. It is clearly not of the Ninth World. It is made of some older material, tipping so much it's a wonder it hasn't collapsed yet. The Burgrave is easy to find. He stands in front of the tower, a stout man in a colorful robe. More colorful than most Jerboan citizens. His robe is adorned with various pearlescent beads and discs that mark his station. He speaks with a richly dressed man and woman. The Burgrave does not seem to have noticed you, but the couple he is speaking to are clearly disgusted by your arrival. Wait patiently, I think, is the thing to do. And it takes a long time for them to finish their business. The couple seems grateful for the Burgrave's apparent ignorance of your presence. Finally, they leave. The Burgrave turns to you, apparently surprised to find you standing there. What brings a mutant out here? You state your case, telling him of the attack on Sukia and the thugs, warning that they would return. He waits patiently for you to finish the whole tale. Your ingenuities tell me even more than your words, he says, looking at where the 2 thugs wounded you. I'm surprised you waited so long to tell me. Very well. I will have the matter investigated. I served the grotto too, no? You thank him and return home. That was way too easy. There are very few people on the streets outside the grotto at this time of night. Suddenly a few figures emerge from the shadows. 2 of them are the humans from before. Well now, one says, leering. What are you doing out? A gleam in his hand tells you they are carrying more than fists this time. More figures emerge, surrounding you. The scrape of metal sends a shiver up your spine. Ah, we are not at the grotto. I understand. Let's not reveal our plans. Let's not attack them. We would die. I don't think they are afraid of us. Let's try to run. You pretend to attack them, then juke the other way and run past. You tear down the alley, their footsteps in hot pursuit. Misha sees you first. She shouts to the others and they prepare for a fight. She gives you a makeshift club and you turn to face your adversaries. But this is worse than before. It's not just the two thugs beating up Sukia, but an entire gang of humans come to take their anger out on the mutants of the grotto once and for all. The fighting begins faster than you expect. The air is filled with shouts of rage and pain. With a tremendous whack, you knock down the man in front of you, but looking around you see everyone is in danger. This is the same thing that happened last time, and it... I remember what the last time I think I did this and that and ignored 4, but 4 might have been better. I remember. Fight to protect yourself. Kill as many as you can. Fear nothing for yourself. Maybe being a martyr is exactly what the grotto needs. But if I can help Zell, maybe he can help us all. Zell tears the arm of one thug, then lifts another and throws him through a wall. He looks like he can't take care of himself until the humans coordinate their attacks and overwhelm him. 4 men jump on him at once, pinning him down while a 5th runs forward with a razor-sharp verret. You get to Zell just in time, cracking the man with the verret across the jaw. He doesn't get up. You knock down 2 more before they realize what happened and turn on you. But by then, Zell is able to grab them and smash their heads together like eggs. He stands to his full height and grabs your forearm. Blood, he intones. You consume one, Zell consumes another. Then he leaps back into the fray. Oh, good. And I think we do need a doctor. The chirurgeon, Misha. You run to Misha's aid, but the chirurgeon has 3 hands filled with various relics. The thugs are fleeing from her, lest they be turned to ash, goo, or the back end of an Aenean like their friends. Apparently, she doesn't need help, but the others very much do. Help Sukia. Though she's heavily wounded, Sukia fights hard. She knocks down 2 men twice her size, before you lose sight of her behind 3 more. You rush to her aid, whacking a shiv out of a man's hand just before he impales Sukia. You take down 2 others, and Sukia is saved. Just before! Oh, alright. Others are not so lucky. Misha has taken care of herself, and Zell has saved Ashi's life, but he could not save the boy's mother. She lies dead in front of her home, like many other mutants around the grotto. We shouldn't have helped Misha, but the mother and her son. As many mutants have died, the grotto has killed more humans. They are pressed back out of the grotto, and the noise soon draws the attention of more Jerboans. Some of these join the fight against the mutants, but many more stand alongside the mutants, defending them. Something slams into your back then, before you can turn to face your attacker. Another blow smashes your head into the dirt. Life seeps from your skull. Some distance away you see Zell lying dead on the ground as well, dozens torn apart beside him. The world fades to blackness. You hear the fighting spread, a full riot. All of Jerboa has joined one side or the other. Never again will the grotto be ignored. I'm crying a little. I don't like oppression. This makes me always very sangry, sad and angry. So, no way to access it again. And this one, urging you to succumb to it. Okay. The liquid within the tubes lies utterly still, no matter which way you tilt the contraption. Occasionally, a bubble pops against the glass and something within the device shudders. Enter it. But first, pee break! See you soon. Not soon, I mean in a moment, in a minute, 90 seconds, I don't know. See you. Welcome back, yeah. See, light? It's alright. The sound as well. The sunrise gives the sea a blazing golden sheen, and all the city, from the far harbor shanties to the splendid square just below you, basks in its light. The breeze blows fresh and brisk off the water. The song of night birds gives way to the chatter of clerks and touts, and your black-veined hands, twisted like talons, tremble on the windowsill. Behind you, men bicker about tests and shins, about a rod that has reached the heart and brain and cannot be cut out. You turn away from the window and face the men, just as the closest of them, a one-armed servant in sumptuous garb, cries that there must be more than can be done, whatever the cost. But the other, a Chayurchan, snaps back. I am no mountebank like Jalippa, flinging ciphers at the six till there are no more shins to shake loose. It is not healing to stir false hope in those doomed to die. They break off their debate to look your way. You don't recognize them at all, but plainly they know you and expect you to speak. I apologize for my confusion. And if none of us, dear viewers, has anything else they want to do? As you stammer out your confusion, the servant's eyes widen with understanding. He steps closer to you and, in an almost tender gesture, he lifts a hand toward your face, his one hand, his one arm, his other side smoothly swaddled in silk. I am Cardogo, your grace. You know me. And without it quite being so, he is right. Even poisoned as your body is, it feels the flush of friendship. And this is Aram of the island. He has been treating your condition. The Chayurchan gives a slight nod, adding, My services are at an end, your grace. The roots have spread too far, too deep. What the wind sowed must now be reaped. The wind is the iron wind, I guess. Numenera anomaly, phenomenon. How long do I have? Days, perhaps. No more than a week. It grows as it will and will blossom when it is ready. Then there are preparations to be made. The Chayurchan bows, plainly pleased that you have heard his words, then takes his leave. Cardogo watches him go, then turns your way. There is work to be done, your grace, but you must rest. I will have the kitchen prepare your broth, and I will let your family know. He lingers a moment longer, without saying why. What he wanted or waited goes unspoken, and as he departs, a tremendous weariness overtakes you. Beyond the window, the sun has risen, and the sea is restored to old grey waves, crashing on a sullied shore. The hours of rest have won you no strength, and the soup sits uneasily in your stomach. Cardogo dusts your face with rouge to hide its pallor, slides white gloves over your twisted hands, wraps you wraps you in a padded jacket that adds lost flesh and masks the bulbous growths. He tucks and folds and buttons and at last passes you a looking glass. A looking glass. In your trembling grasp, it shows nothing more or less than rot and sickness. You look like a corpse prepared for funeral display. Cardogo has hidden nothing. He has merely framed your condition as a euphemism that others can bear. They are waiting, he says, and he guides your chair forward. People are whispering. Your eyes flick across the drawing room, alighting on the vast map covering the far wall. The shining ointment of crystal and azure steel whirling in a corner, the shelves of ancient tomes, the writhing fire caged in the hearth. Then there are the men and women, young and old, all gazing expectantly. Scores of stares you cannot meet in a sea of unfamiliar faces. On some, fear and desperation are naked. Other guests have done better in their concealment. A neatly groomed man in a neatly fitted officer's uniform sobs messily. He is the exception. Where? I don't see him. Cardogo puts his hand on your shoulder and a hush falls. Your Grace, the family is gathered. To you alone, he says. They await your words. I think this is what do you leave behind? For your widow or widower, Erbe. Not legacy. Not allowance. I think this is about money. What they get when I die. I don't think they have fears. Ease their fears. Let's ask Cardogo. Maybe he can be trusted. You place a trembling hand on Cardogo's arm. He leans down and whispers bland words of comfort. At first you bristle at his coddling, but quickly you realize that perhaps he means for you to pass the phrases on to the crowd. In a quaking voice you tell them that they are not alone, that they are loved, and that they are strong. Here your servant's prompting runs out, and at a loss for what more to say, you merely add that you are dying. When Cardogo sees that you have nothing left, he ushers your family from the room. The officer, however, insists on staying, and Cardogo at last relents. Your Grace, your nephew Salva begs a word. He withdraws a discreet distance. Salva has everything you've lost. Strength, beauty, vigor. And yet his own haunted eyes, condemned eyes, are all too familiar. He bows and, thinking his face is hidden, wipes it quickly with a handkerchief. As he rises, he kisses your gloved hand. Your Grace, his voice, for all its glorious tenor, quivers as if he is far weaker than he looks. You've given me so much, and now, as your end draws near, I hope at last to prove my worth. His harried eyes dart about as he gives his little speech. How? I have discovered a wonderful opportunity. A mercantile venture in need of a leader, a man of precisely my skills, and a chance to purchase shares in the ongoing concern. Preferred stock. He stumbles over the foreign vocabulary of business, but a bright false smile spreads as he picks up steam. I can make good on what you've given me. Proof that your faith was well placed. The smile fades. I just need a stake to put in. He means shins, of course. Tell me more about this venture. Salva nods. Too fast, too many times. It is not without danger, physical danger, I mean, which is why they need a man who can swing a sword. He is interrupted by a cough from Cardogo. The venture? The venture. Ah, yes, well, it involves certain saleable commodities that are in great demand in the oasis of Marjolios. Strictly highest workmanship, of course, but sold here like trinkets, So, you see, exactly the sort of thing a sharp trader corners in the market, as they say. Sounds like you're being tricked. Salva blanches. Ridiculous. That could not be farther from the truth. This is honest and good. His words raced blindly ahead. This is a lucrative enterprise. Your servant sighs audibly. The dull ache behind your eyes, the claws in your spine, your nephew's absurd deception, all of it drags you downward. Why are you doing this? Salva takes a step back, his eyes watering. I want to prove that everything you did for me, the schooling, the sport, my commission, these clothes, prove that it wasn't a waste. All my life I've had to pretend I deserved your love, your gifts, always knowing I didn't, always hearing others laughing behind their hands. Now I can prove you were right, prove I was worth it, prove it to myself. From the corner of your eye you see Cardogo shaking his head. Your nephew holds your withered hand with his long, graceful fingers. Please, I just need help, one last time. Apologetically, unthinkingly, he adds, it needn't be this evening, there's time. Oh, damn. I know nothing about all of this. Which makes me think maybe this is the lesson to be learned here from the game, that when you die, does all this really matter? If I say no, he might show his true colors. But you look all right, dude. You don't need me for a business opportunity, and even if you can borrow money somewhere else. I gave you too much already. No! No! Salva straightens at your blunt denial and nods his head almost with dignity. I understand. I am sorry you could not live to see me worthy of your faith. He bows and marches out of the room. As he does, Cardogo returns to your side from the polite distance he had been keeping. Ever a wastrel, your grace. He eases your chair back toward your suite. It has been a long day, you should rest. A soporific and anodyne mist brought by Cardogo dulls the daggers that stab your nerves, and soon sweet oblivion settles over you. You awaken in the dark night with the certainty that you are not alone. Your uneven heartbeat races and your rot-riddled eyes strive to find an intruder. Who's there, you hiss. A shadow sits at the foot of your bed, illuminated by the false fire glow of a cipher around her wrist. As your eyes adjust, her face becomes faintly visible. You recognize her from the gathering. She was at the back of the drawing room, and she left before anyone else. Casca, she answers, identifying herself, though by now she knows you've seen her. Or have you forgotten me entirely? Casca, why does this name sound familiar? Casca. I think from a different game. Or movie, or... Where do I know the name Casca from? Berserk. Right. Yeah. Shit. Why are you here? To pay my last respects. Casca scoffs as she shines her cipher over your withered, trembling body. That is, if I had any. She gives a short, sharp laugh. No. What I want is what you've been giving my sweet, soft, rotten cousin Salva all these years. Your shins. Why should I? Though I like answer 3 as well. In the twilight she gives a short, flat reply. Because I've suffered. Cry out for help. No, we won't. Isn't she strong enough already? I think we might have been a fool when we knew what happened around us, and she seems alright. Should we just provide for her? My shins will make you soft like silver. Better to grow stronger by earning them. This is such a typical rich response. You'll be provided for. Casca nods once without saying a word, then darkens the cipher on her wrist. Without its light, the room becomes completely black, utterly silent and empty but for the whisper of her departure and the ever-present pain within you. And, I mean, if we would have given her, would not have given her the she seems like she's done some criminal stuff, and she doesn't have to do that anymore because she has our shins now. I think she's strong enough. Okay, maybe even a little evil. Weakness and throbbing pain are the morning's gifts, unblunted by the herbal broth Cardogo has brought. Death will not stop knocking. By the time the clocks cry out midday, a palsy has seized your left hand. Your servant gives you a relic to grip, some ancient creature locked in amber. It slips from your grasp and shatters on the floor. The beast flies away. At that moment, a caller is announced. Cardogo leaves, then returns visibly dismayed. The mendicant, your grace. Without awaiting an invitation, your visitor enters, a tall man, stiff and slender as a poker, finely dressed and bangled with ciphers. Finally. Not finally. He glows with a confidence as he gives a half bow. Your grace. At a curt nod from the mendicant, Cardogo steps out. Your guest then sits beside you and takes your hand. I have heard. Naturally, not from Cardogo, but your family cannot help but share their panic with the city. His eyes glisten with fathomless compassion, or at least a fine simulacrum of it. The hour against which you prepared for so long has come around at last, and they, who surely knew the day would come, are as unready as house pets. They have leaned on you greatly, but then, so have I, and so have our children. He gestures to the leather portmanteau he has set at his feet. I'm here to bring your plans to completion. How can I help? The mendicant eyes you carefully, then gently nods. I know that a cloud has fallen on your mind. It would give me great joy to lift it. For many years, your generosity has given new hope to the dispossessed and neglected children of this city. A long lifetime's worth of wealth has transformed what my hospice can provide. The lands alone, your old hunting preserve and the mouths they now feed, the wrecking field at Crefton, and the honest labor of gleaning its Numenera, the campus of the hospice itself, and all the lost souls it houses. As you insisted, no one knows of these gifts but us two and your solicitor. And now, I seek to drink the last dregs of your estate. Why should no one know? I don't know. Shit. Why do you need more? No one knows. 1 or 3? No one knows? The mendicant nods. Naturally, they suspect. One cannot turn a pleasure garden into an orphanage without gossip. And it is hard to conceal anything from Cardogo. I fear that he doubts my sincerity. He pats the bag at his feet. In the end, of course, the truth will be known, and from high to low, the city will admire your kindness. And it is on that kindness that I wish once more to impose. Why do you need more? Our world knows no end of need, Your Grace. There are so many children who have been betrayed and cast aside. There is one in particular whom I wish to show you, if I may. He unhinges the portmanteau's clasp and begins to reach in. As if in response, the shake in your hand grows stronger. Of course. From his... Just a moment, I will turn that off. Test. Let's continue. From his back, the mendicant takes a glass tube filled with a swarm of ants. Next comes rich parchment which he lays upon your desk. With a deft motion, he pulls the cap from the tube and pours the ants on the page. They skitter madly, but not aimlessly, oozing acids on the page until at last they've etched a flawless picture. You see a young girl afflicted with almost unspeakable corruption. Half her flesh, a wilderness of misplaced parts and oozing sores. No, I thought that was the son of in our last Mir, but I don't think so. One of Cardogo's brood, the mendicant mutters. Most of them are killed at birth by the horse, if not by him. What? Unbidden, a strangled sound escapes you, and Cardogo bursts in. The mendicant slips out without another word. He told me about your children. Cardogo's face turns red with rage, and then, as he sees the formidograph of his daughter, shame. I see. He whispers, turning away. Face hidden, voice low, he confesses. I was a man when Kaylee let me join you on the border march, and a monster when we wed. Her love never flinched. Could mine? She wanted a child, but I dared not burden her with another such as me. As he steps forward, a black mote swirls in the space between you. Juniper swore that was still some good in me, untouched by the wind that could grow in my wife. He reaches out, but I had to know, for her sake. Before you can condemn or absolve, the fit comes and all else goes. Oh. So, we were attacked by the Iron Wind when we were in the border march. And he's not talking about being a monster like he hit his wife or something, but that he changed because of the Iron Wind. What happens to us is happening to him, but less. I don't think he's dying, but he has no arm, for example. So he's seeing... God. Oh, God. I don't know how oh, shit. But is that evil? So he's sleeping with other women to see if he can have... with prostitutes. So he can see if he can have a healthy child. Continue. The darkness fades, in part. The agony stays, redoubled. Through a haze you see your bedroom and 2 men beside your bed. Cardogo is one. His hand is on your bony shoulder. His companion, proper in every punctilio, is another stranger. Your Grace, you barely hear Cardogo's voice. It is as if your ears are packed with wadding. I have brought your solicitor. As you'll recall, Your Grace, you declined my offer to draft a will against this day. He speaks of mortgages and credit lines and accounts payable, wasting a last life on a lawyer's long-winded way of saying what little wealth you truly have left. Now, you must tell me, how am I to dispose of the residuum? You may decide if you want to, but I don't think anyone's here. Cardogo is a good guy, but I don't think these children need a trust. I don't know. Casca, a better life with the money. Why not? The hospice might have enough money already, and I don't know if the mannequin really is that true to us. Casca, find Casca, and let her buy a better life with the money. You can barely whisper the words, but as the final darkness creeps across your vision, you see the solicitor nod. Your life's last short span stretches almost infinitely, and in it you see Casca. Her hard features softened by comfort and cosmetic care, softened, most of all, by a smile with no edge. She's laughing. She is free. Then the image fades and the darkness turns to golden waves lapping on the shore, and you are free as well. Your long days finally done.
I'm ready to learn something new.
Sad, sad stories. Damn. Let's sell them to Lady Angie. Of course. You can have that, and you can have that. And I don't need anything from you, right? Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Running Blade of Tol Danor, heavy melee weapon. Ooh. Wait. 8, 7, 10, 10. But it does bleed. Elkeshai's Quick Eyes Axe. Ah. Did I sell that? The Ruining Blade of Tol Danor? It doesn't sound too bad. Or for him? He could use another one. Yeah. So, heavy melee weapon. Can Elegant use heavy melee weapons? No, he's a medium weapon guy. And he can't use heavy weapons. Okay. Aadiriis, on the other hand, can. Medium ranged. Medium. Light weapons. So which one is better? Aadiriis's or ours? 20 or 15? 15 plus 6. 6 physical damage per turn. But the other thing can do more damage per effort. So, 8, 7, plus 3 is 18, plus 6. It's 24. And here we have 28. But the bleeding is active for 2 rounds. So then we have 30 instead of 28. Let's stick with the Quick Ice Axe. Also, I think chemical damage is better than energy damage. And we already do energy damage. We have chemical, energy, and relativistic. Quite nice. But let's learn something new. What kind of skill do we want to be better in? Tidal affinity, maybe. Where is it? Oh, we can't. Oh, we can't. Okay. Law natural. Anyone else with a natural law? No. Let's get rid of this running thing. Because we are really slow. But we have 2 of our guys, I think, can hook enemies towards us, so maybe I don't need running. Law. But if it's law natural, what could I use for my flex skill? Which one is it? This one. Yeah. Exploration law or conversation skill. Yeah, flex skill is still alright, but also not as not responsible, not as reliable as hard skills, because after we die, the flex skill is gone. Okay, so we will law natural. No. Yes, law natural. Confirm. Okie dokie. Okay, we've talked to Lady Angie. And maybe she can tell us how we can talk to these two? Well, my friend, you return. What do you need? I'm ready to let you probe my mind. This will take but a moment. She places gentle fingers on your forehead, and you feel a swirl of color thrill your innermost core. A kaleidoscope of emotion shakes you, a gamut of experiences recognized and echoed, magnified and reflected. When she removes her hand, her eyes are wet with tears. Forgive my doubt, brother. I believe you now. I believe you are capable of changing reality.
I'll remember that.
But if anything, this makes me more leery of handing your brother's Merecaster. If you wish to speak to Mazov, you must prove to me that you can be entrusted with the minds of one of our brethren. You cured Malkina, but did you understand Tash? Did you take care of his innermost self as well? Before I can give you this Merecaster, I would have you speak with Melmoth Leviarm. It is my contention that we draw the sorrow to us with our abuse of the tides, which is why I do not use our tidal powers. I believe our use of these powers is inherently painful to those around us. For instance, was anyone with you when you awoke to consciousness? 2 people, Elgon and Calistiche. They were arguing as I awoke. I'd wager any simmering tension snapped into sharp focus. If they were lovers, for example, they might have fallen deep into love's spell, but if they were breaking apart, your blast of tidal energy would have riven them, destroying their relationship. That's what happened, isn't it? They were not arguing for nothing. Go see Melmoth. Ask him about the tides. When you've done that, we will speak further. After that, the Merecaster. Perhaps. Eventually. I must know that you will take responsibility when you hold Zarian's life, his history, in your hands. You will not have the Merecaster until I am satisfied. Good she does that. I mean, that's responsible. Other questions first? Okay, farewell.
Sure enough.
Anything new we can talk to them about? Nothing new with him.
Why not?
Can we help these 2 arguing things? Nope.
All right.
Alright. Something about the Chalcedon? No. Okay. Melmoth.
Of course.
Oh, good. You've come back to bedevil me again. Talk to me about the tides. You'll find none better equipped to answer the question, certainly. The tides are an inextricable part of us, and he snaps a clamp on one of the attachments on a tube. Wait. He snaps a clamp on one of the attachments. Wait. She sent you to me. He peers closely at you. Interesting. Every time I talk about the tides, she argues with me as if she'd spent a fraction of the time I have in studying them. As if she'd spent a fraction of the time I have in studying them. She probably said that we bring pain through our existence. Let me enlighten you. Everyone brings pain to others. I have experienced so many lives and memories, and one of the common threads in all of them is pain. Do we hurt other people? We do. But how do we differ from any mortal in this regard? Show me someone without pain and I will show you a corpse. And then I'll eat it.
Making a note.
We are imperfect. We leak tides, or absorb them, or both. Our powers impinge on the minds of others, upon the nervous system, if you prefer. We draw strength from them. We change them in the process, and not usually for the better. This is regrettable, but unavoidable. Aadiriis might have said that the Cyro is hunting us because we abuse the tides, or some such nonsense. But if that's the case, we're doomed by the nature of our existence. If true, why not use the powers we have? Why do you think the Cyro pursues us? I don't waste my time worrying about it. Like worrying about the death of the cosmos. It'll come sooner or later. You want supposition, is the least, because of our mad creator. Vengeance. Sheer bloody mindedness. Maybe it loves the tides, or loathes them. Could be it hates what we're doing with the tides, but if you talk to Aadiriis, say, you'll find she never uses hers. I use mine all the time, yet the Cyro would destroy us both. He adjusts one of the tubes on his outfit. I worry no more about the deaths of others, and now I might gain some of their knowledge. Not about the first's dead vendetta, nor our creator's desire to kill us, nor certainly not an unstoppable monster from the past. What are the tides? You know they're a psychic energy field. They pervade the Greater Sagas Protectorate, but the pockets of tidal activity are localized in the Ninth World. That suggests that though they're a natural force, they are also artificially induced. Civilizations have reasoned around their use, and civilizations have fallen. Odd thing. I have sought to decipher the accounts of those times, but the creatures that made them are strange. The sorrow shows up in images and sounds and spectra I can barely understand. That's why I sought a better method. You get the occasional disease, a strong mind that doesn't want to share its memories with you, but everyone wants to be remembered. Talk to the voices long enough, they realize you're their only true heir. His method is eating people, I understand. Anything more? Maybe if you eat my corpse when I'm dead, you can learn some of what I know. The knowledge I have, too much for the spoken word. A part of us? Did you think that you could come back from the dead because you were born lucky? Our bodies require tidal energy, cut us off from dead energy and we dissolve. It's the way we're structured, the way our sire created us. He invented mental magics and imposed it on the bodies he grew. I surmise that this matrix is what allows his consciousness to transfer and what allows the tidal energy to permeate our forms. Without it, sploosh. But we have the advantage of being able to draw on this power for our own uses. He constructed each of us along different lines, and because of that, the patterns that hold us are different. Is it any wonder that we should be able to channel these into tidal surges? Maybe the first plan to sever all of us from the tides is the only way to finally be free. Of the sorrow, for example. Why do you think the sorrow pursues us cast-offs? Because of what we are, it's ineffable. No point in trying to understand it, just avoid it if you can. But realize that the depths you might have to delve to succeed, well, you might have your own batch of cast-offs cursing your name. How do you know so much? One. I am hundreds of years old. I can devote this kind of time. 2. I am dedicated to knowledge. 3. I will do anything in its pursuit. 4. I learned to draw memories from dead people. 5. I sought the dead who could teach me about the tides. Follow that trail of thought, you'll find me at the end. That's how I know. And why do I do this, do you think? Let me tell you. Since you clearly wanted to ask, it's because the changing man thought the tides were important. He uses the tides to shape us. Do you want to know more about how you were created? I did. And so I researched the tides. The reason for this is that I am not an idiot, unlike so many of our siblings. I do these things, blah blah blah. It's entirely possible. The tides are a psychic force, and when we're born, our minds snap into a particular shape and force out the residue. An unprotected mind nearby might well absorb some of that energy and react in unpredictable ways, but what of it? Does this change anything in your life? 2 mortals had an argument, oh no, boo-hoo! Some other questions. Okay. Aadiriis, I have talked to Melmoth Leviarm. Okay. Tides. Have you spoken with Melmoth then? What did he say? He said that the tides are within us all, and that we should use our powers as necessary. I imagine he called me a fool and worse. He has done more research into the tides than anyone else here in Miel Avest. Tell me, did he say anything else? Just a little webcam thing I do here? Okay? No, not okay. But okay. That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. Well, he said we all use the tides all the time. If we do, it is purely unconscious, for I have never used them intentionally. At any rate, I sent you to speak with Melmoth. Do you believe that he has conducted his studies with anything but his own power in mind? One is the wise option, I'd say, but it's also... He didn't seem that power hungry to me, and if he was, we would have heard of... he doesn't have that much power. He does care deeply for the preservation of knowledge. But on the other hand, maybe he does care deeply about others because he makes them immortal. And he would like to be eaten as well. He seems to care deeply for the preservation of knowledge. So he says, and he has certainly gone to great lengths to do so. I don't believe in his positions nor his conclusions, for he may well have inflated the results to justify his actions. But he refuses my mind's touch and rebuffs my attempts to inquire more deeply. My own personal views are, of course, irrelevant to the deeper truth that he has his own motives, and they may be purer than mine.
I'll remember that.
So I have another... Ah, hi! Dalrian the Free! That sounds like a Robin Hood side character. Dalrian the Free. My real name is Robin, so... hi there! Halloin! It's the second time that I play it, and I'm a huge Planescape Torment fan, so... I... know more about the game that maybe you thought before, but... I at least like it. But I think it's much more interesting when you play it the first time, because there's so much mystery about it. And now that I know everything, I mean, there's some things I haven't discovered in my first playthrough, and I'm always surprised and happy when I find them, but I like to play games to get surprised, to be surprised, and this game does it. Especially the first time you play it, but like I said, I still think it's a very good game. And I still think it really has the flair. Maybe it's a little too colorful for Planescape Torment, and not bloody enough, I'd say, but it really captures the heart of Planescape Torment very well, I think, and that's why I like this game as well. Yeah, what do you think? Your question tells me that maybe you have played this game before too. So I have another task for you. Andronus and Raima are arguing. The recent negotiations between the Chalcedon and Page broke down, and these two have taken it hard. They are like to come to blows if they cannot be reconciled. If one strikes the other, the laws of Miel Avest are clear. The attacker will be evicted. I don't know if the Sorrow is truly more active, but they came here choosing safety, and it is my wish that they have it. Please, speak with them. Alright, other questions? No. Again. Farewell. And you also.
All right.
Alright.
Fine.
Okay. Let's talk to... I don't think it matters really. By the looks, Raima and Andronus... I like this game and I played through it, though yeah, I think the second playthrough is more difficult to make if you didn't skip... Yeah, and that's how I roll, Darian. I try to get all of the side quests I can, and I even... And a good game does that, as this game does as well. It shows you when you will go to a different location and might not be able to resolve the quests that you haven't found before. So when this point in the game comes, I look into a walkthrough until the chapter that I am and see if I missed anything, and played through these things as well. And I have the Super Mega Collector's Uber Ultimate Edition and backed it for a lot of money. This was the only game I've ever backed in a Kickstarter, but yeah. And that's why I also have a walkthrough from the developers, by the developers. So I know everything already there's to know. So yeah, but I see you feel the same way. Oh, really? One? And have you played Planescape Torment? Did you get to know this game because you knew Planescape Torment? That's how I did it. Or... I'm glad you ask! Darian. So, I haven't played it before I played this game, but several years ago, I got into pen and paper role-playing games. Yes, as we call them in Germany, pen and paper, but yeah, tabletop games. And we started with The Dark Eye, as it's called in England, in English, I think, Das Schwarze Auge. And after several sessions, I thought, maybe you would like to be a GM as well. And what did I do? I GM'd Numenera. So, yes, I have played Numenera for many, many sessions as a GM, never as a player. And we are starting our second reboot of the campaign we are in several weeks, maybe. I'm still waiting for some of the assignments they had to do. They had, for example, to create I asked them to. They don't have to, but I asked them, and they liked the idea to create a positive and a negative NPC in the village that they live in. So yeah, I have some. I don't know if it's a lot, because with 30 years old, you don't have all of that much time to play tabletop games as much as you would like to. But somehow we, especially during the COVID crisis now, we had the opportunity to play close to every week, and that's pretty cool. I haven't played Planescape Torment. It's one of the games I meant to start, but I haven't made time for it. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. I have a lot of those games. In my Steam library, it's filled with stuff and GOG. I think I have about 3,000 games digitally. And yeah, for me, a different game maybe that you feel with Planescape Torment was Baldur's Gate. And I played through Baldur's Gate 1 several months ago now. But I started it several years ago. So it took me several attempts to play through it. Cheesy! And I'm several attempts to play through it because I also was modding the game. I like mods in RPGs. And then, especially Baldur's Gate, when you don't play it, when the time between your last and your current playthrough, or when the break is too big and too wide, and you don't know what you've done in your sessions before, it's hard to get into Baldur's Gate again. And also, the trying to fight your way through all the battles in this game is harder than, for example, with Planescape Torment or Torment Tides of Numenera. So, cheers. Wasser ist Leben. Are there any other similar games that you always meant to start but haven't had the time for? By the looks, Raima and Andronus turn your way. You've interrupted a promising tangent of their apparently infinite argument. Aadiriis asks me to mediate your dispute. They react exactly like sullen children. Andronus folds his arms and turns away from you. Raima flushes and stares at her feet. All right, tell us what you need to know. What the fuck are you arguing about? The two watch each other warily for a moment, as if speaking first will somehow forfeit the argument. We mostly disagree on the amount of respect due our sire. He arches a cold eyebrow at Raima, a silent question. She gives a reluctant nod. Tell me what's troubling you, Andronus. I just don't understand her, he says, flinging his hand in Raima's direction. The changing guard abandoned us at birth, then fed us lie after lie when he chose to speak with us at all. She claims he has a master plan. I see a man who serves himself first and always. He doesn't care if we die. Even I care more if Raima dies than our sire does. Did you know that he sparked the whole war from my body? He got the first angry at me, then ditched this shell, leaving me to deal with the consequences. Good thing the first knows the difference between the face and the mind. But Raima, look, I know how she feels. The sorrow is hunting all of us. It's nice to think that the Changing God has a plan to protect us. It's not true. It's just not true. I know. He glares at Raima, then looks back at you. Damn it. After a moment, you see why. There are tears in his eyes. None of us want to kill each other. You see that, right? But if I have to choose between someone brave enough to stand against our father and her, I drop her and mourn later. I admit I missed out on CRPGs growing up. I'm sure if I dug through my dad's collection. Ooh, dad's collection. It's always nice to have a dad's collection. I never had that. I am the first in my line, in my lineage that is playing video games. But I grew up in the 90s, so I still, well, I have quite a backlog, let me tell you that. Back to your question about playing the tabletop game. Are you a tabletop gameplay RPG dude? And if so, since when? What do you play? And how is it for you? I'm always looking for like-minded tabletop players. Summarize your argument for me again, Andronus. The changing god has turned us on each other. And for what? To draw the sorrow's eyes away from him? For fun? Raima wants to believe his intentions are noble, but she's fooling herself. Let's hear your side, Raima. It's simple, brother. The endless battle is a test. Andronus' side has been failing it for centuries. Our creator managed to annoy the first enough that she stomped off in a huff. He even did it in Andronus' body. You'd think that this big oaf of all people would understand what our Cyro was thinking. The fact of the matter is our father created this sanctuary for us, to protect us from the sorrow. But hiding isn't a strategy. Eventually we'll have to take the battle to it. The gleam in our eyes is a banked fire. And when that time comes, our father wants an army who will follow his orders without question. He allowed the first to spread her doubts, and the traitors among us have flocked to her side. She tosses Andronus a scornful look. You have to admire our father's logic. We deal with the weakest among us before we face the enemy that wants us all dead. And that's it. Simple. Like I said, Andronus simply can't accept that this grand rebellion is all part of our father's plan. Can't accept that we owe our existence and ongoing survival to him. If you hate this sanctuary so much, why not leave? She sneers at Andronus. But I'm not in game. I'm in game right now, but I got into Torment during college. Ooh, probably 8 years ago. Mostly on the GM side, but some games as a player too. And do you prefer one over the other? GM versus player? Because I found out that even though GMing can be, but the more you do it, the better you know what to prepare, can be quite stressful, and especially Numenera. It's very easy to GM because, they take the developers, the makers of Numenera, really take your well-being into account, and it shows. But I do prefer GMing. Yeah, I do. Summarize your argument again, Raima. I think the first rebellion is all part of our father's grander plan. Andronus just can't accept that. What sort of solution would satisfy you both? Neither of them speak for a moment. Their faces are identical sculptures of surprise. I don't know, he says, glancing at Raima. Nothing you could say would make us take each other's side. And with apologies to Aadiriis, I don't want to get along with Raima. I've hated her for too long, no offense. Honesty doesn't offend me. She looks over at you. And we need a decision. You can't please both of us. Our points of view aren't ever going to line up. Okay. Del Rian. Before, do you want to make this decision for me? Oh. Wait. Your argument is based on the endless battle, isn't it? Is that why the battle is still going on? Yes. He huffs and casts a dark look at Raima. Whenever our father has the chance, he spends our lives like a loose handful of chins. We keep fighting to stop him, to tear him down.
I'll remember that.
You idiot. Our father never makes a move without knowing he's going to win. We're stronger than you, and we have right on our side. You're going to lose this war down to the last soldier. Then you'll see that I'm right. Okay, go ahead. Okay. I've heard your arguments. I'm ready to resolve your dispute. Andronus and Raima go still and stoic, showing no sign of the emotion they displayed before. In this moment, they look very much alike, like family. Oh God. You are endangering everyone with this petty argument. Both of you must leave Miel Avest until this is settled. Andronus, she's right. You clearly hate it here. Leave before this argument turns to violence. Raima, he's right. Our side doesn't care about us. Some time outside Miel Avest might convince you of that. Go. I want you to stop this argument right now. Neither one of you is right. Do you really want to break the truce, to kill each other over a point of view? Can't you put a stop to this? We are family, after all. And I need to hear more about your argument. They look like family. They talk like family. Well, I don't like the changing guard. I think he's a selfish ass. So I'm not taking Raima's side. And I don't want both of them to leave. That's not what Aadiriis, that's not what Miel Avest is. I could say neither of them is right. Or asking them, do you really want to break the truce, to kill each other over a point of view? Well, let's ask them that.
Making a note.
Andronus opens his mouth. Yeah, the same with me. And have you ever GM'd Numenera or mostly other games? Asking what you asked me. Andronus opens his mouth, shuts it thoughtfully. Finally, he speaks. You're right, we are safe here. But the Cyro is circling, if the rumors are true. I don't want to do its work. All right, she says, letting out a ragged breath. Just let's talk about something else, Andronus. Can we do that? For now? Gladly. Yay! How are you now? Nice to see you two getting along. They roll their eyes in unison. Okay. Are you two still getting along? Yep, I think they are.
I am the very soul of action.
Ah, so you're mostly trying to play one-shots or shorter campaigns? Not a whole big, great, grand adventure taking several years? So, Aadiriis. Again, well, I think I've made my decision.
Absolutely.
Scusi? Have you helped Raima and Andronus come to a conclusion yet? They've agreed to a temporary peace. I know the feeling. No, Well, I never thought that... Oh, did I? I don't know. I never thought that I didn't want to GM the games that I was GMing anymore. But it is hard to keep the pace, and to I think the hardest thing about tabletop gaming is getting all of them at the same place at the same time. Now via Discord it's okay, and it does help, and we can play more regularly, but I miss playing at a table. And we haven't done that since before the COVID crisis, so yeah. I don't know when we will do that. Maybe after I'm vaccinated fully. Then I think I will ask them then. Yeah, scheduling is a curse. It is. Schedule. It's a cool tabletop game name. They've agreed to a temporary peace. Well done. Well done indeed. To be free to choose is a part of life in Miel Avest. We must own our choices, just as we own our responsibilities for the outcomes of those choices.
Making a note.
Before I can allow you to alter the course of a brother's life, I would hear your opinion on something which touches the lives of all our kind. You have no doubt heard of the endless battle. But what do you know about it? Why do they fight and who is right? If, perchance, you have heard only a little about the conflict, you may wish to speak to your brethren before answering. I would like to ask you some questions first. What do you think of the endless battle? The truth. It is a waste of life, a waste of talent, a waste of Numenera that could be used to make the world better. They say conflict is the driver of progress, but the world has achieved all the technological progress it requires. The progress we need is in learning, in the humanities, in learning to communicate well and truly with one another. But both sides claim to be doing it to protect us, and can I truly argue with them? No, I can't. I can give you an opinion now. Very well. What do you believe is the point of the endless battle is? Senseless violence caused by pride. Okay. None of my business. Killing each other is human. There is no point, it's a waste. That's what I think. Senseless violence caused by pride? I don't know if pride really is the source of the endless battle. Remember Thalana and her men. The only purpose it serves is to ruin the lives of those it touches. Barry Sales says the endless battle makes us stronger through conflict, more focused. Bullshit. The fighting is pointless, but profitable, and that's why it continues. I think it makes us all poorer, not more. I don't think we profit from it. Okay. Delrian, what do you think? Do you think the endless battle has the only purpose it serves is to ruin the lives of those it touches? Or there is no point, it's a waste? These are the two that I would bet behind, I think. It's a waste for sure. Then, Aadiriis, there is no point, it's a waste. A waste, really. It could be argued that our kind has grown stronger through continued conflict. No, we haven't. The only purpose it does serve is to ruin the lives of those it touches. Yep. So no, okay. She wants me to double down on what I said. A fair point, I admit, but does it ruin all the lives it touches? To some benefit, indeed. What of all the suppliers, the camp followers, the arms merchants? You would strip away their livelihoods in the name of peace, yes. Then they are part of the problem. You're arguing with every answer I give? Indeed. And why do you think I am doing so? No, we will come to that. Let us start from the first task. Why would I tell you to talk to Melmoth when he ridicules my beliefs? You wanted to expose me to other viewpoints, I think? Precisely. When we have incomplete information and are exposed to alternative, opposite viewpoints, how do we judge which is true? We must reach a conclusion at some point, but unless those conclusions are backed with incontrovertible evidence, you must never imagine that you have the sole grasp on the truth. And what do you imagine I intended when I asked you to intervene with Raima and Andronus? To resolve a dispute with regard for both parties' feelings and motivations? That is exactly so. My intention for you in this task was to have you change the lives of your siblings for the better, while they still control their own bodies, to offer them alternatives and see if you can provide them a route through their troubles that maintains their core goals. And then we come to the question of the endless battle. What purpose did that discussion serve? Challenging my beliefs with alternate viewpoints, perhaps? Correct, and astutely judged. The goal in all of this was to make you question your assumptions, to see things through others' eyes. It may be that nothing of import happens in Zarian's Mere. You might enter, speak with Melmoth, and leave without altering him a bit. But even if so, there will be other mares. What if the next one is Melmoth's, or Raima's, or even mine? Whose assumptions will you take with you into that life? Whose goals will you accomplish, and at what cost? You have the power to change the course of a life, of many lives, without their permission or even their knowledge. You will have to weigh their desires against your own, deciding whether the needs of your life are more important than theirs. You will have to know, with the utmost certainty and integrity, what does one life matter? What can change the nature of a man? Shit. Well, when we are true to all of the universe, one life really doesn't matter. It's an infinitesimal spark against the timeline of cosmos. Yeah, but maybe that's not the definition of to matter. Like the Merecasters? No, that's new. That's only for Torment Tides of Numenera. It does have many choices that do have consequences, but not these choose your own adventure books things. It matters only as much as we let it matter. We make our own meaning, our own truths. I like that one. New discoveries. Making humanity greater? Yeah. Constructively. Continuity, having children. It matters only as much as we let it matter. We make our own meaning, our own truths. This matches my personal experience as well. We have meaning where we find meaning, chaos where we lack it. Yet, you would do well to examine this belief.
Updated my journal.
From within her robes, she produces a small, clean box. A stylized version of the Changing Guard's sigil is emblazoned across the top of it. And, concerning sigil, Planescape Torment does play in sigil, which really confuses everyone who learned sigil in Planescape Torment. But now I learned it's a sigil. This is the Merecaster of a Kerstov named Zarion. One brother looked into it once and reported seeing Zarion in the fields of Ossiphagon, and later speaking with Melmoth. I highly recommend you take care of any unfinished business before you enter the Mere. You can change the past after all. Anything might happen. Let me know when you are ready. I'll return when I'm ready, and I will await your return. So, Zarion's Mere. And this is where I say goodbye, Delrian the Free. Time to say goodbye. Because it's even past 17:30 and I'm running a tabletop game tonight, so I do need some time before that. We start at 19:30. So, Delrian, thank you for you are the second one who got here via Torment of Numenera. Yeah, I hope that too. I'm always nervous. And I thank you. Well, I thank you very much for being here. If you want to visit me again, but this is my only English stream. The other ones are German. So if you want to visit me again on an English stream, it's next Tuesday at 3:00 p.m. in my time zone. Well, if you want. And if you understand German, you might watch the other streams. But the games are mostly played in English. As long as they are originally in English. Like Resident Evil 7 and Don't Starve. I'm starting Don't Starve on Thursday. And playing Resident Evil 7 tomorrow. So, after this... Oh! Thank you very much, Delrian. Whoop, whoop. Water is life. Thank you. Thank you. You too, Darian. You too. I hope we see each other again, but it looks like we will. Now that you follow me. Bye-bye, bye, and bye-bye. Mwah.